And now finally let us complete this form which we have been deriving for the last 4 or 5 rules by using this sutram upasarjanam purvam, which is a very straightforward sutram. It is in the samasa prakaranam, samasa adhikaraha, which Panini starts from this 213 of the Ashtadhyayi. Panini starts adhikara of samasaha. At the very end of that adhikaraha, in 2 to 30, comes this sutram which says that upasarjanam purvam. So these last few rules um, of this adhikaraha, Paninihi, these actually last 9 rules from here, from here 2 to 30, upasarjanam purvam, from here 2 to 30 up to 2 to 38, these 9 rules, Panini discusses the topic of which term will be the prior member of the compound. And the main sutram is upasarjanam purvam. There are other rules down here, but we will study those when we get into compounds in detail next year. Right now we are looking at only one sutram, and this is the main one, upasarjanam purvam. All it says is that the term which has the upasarjana sanya, that takes the purva nipataha, it becomes the prior member in the compound. And we have just seen, of course, that the upasarjana sanya is given by the sutram prathama nirdishtam samasa upasarjanam. Prathama nirdishtam samasa upasarjanam. So in our case, what do we have? We have pra, which got the upasarjana sanya because the term upapadam is the prathamantam padam in the samasa vidhayaka sutram. And upapadam, what does upapadam stand for? What does it refer to? It refers to pra in this case, a term which has the upapada sanya. So pra got the upasarjana sanya, and now with the help of this sutra upasarjanam purvam, we put that pra as the first member of the compound, and we derive the compound prajna. Pra is placed in the prior position. And this prajna is an adjective. It is declined in all three. It can go in all three genders. If we use it in the pullinge, it will be like it is like Rama Shabdaha. So decline like Rama. So prajnaha, prajnyau, prajnyaha, and so on and so forth. So that finally completes the whole circle over here. So as these two rules are going to be used in every compound. Every compound we have to look at these two rules 1 to 43, Prathamanidrishtam Samas Upasajanam and Upasajanam Purvam. So keep on practicing these and they are going to become used over and over and over and over again. Okay, so the Vritti of the Sutram says Samase Upasajanam Prak Prayojam. This Purvam is an adverb. Means earlier. Earlier means it requires an action. It says prayojam. It should be employed earlier. It should be used earlier. It should be placed earlier in the compound. Samase. Now compare this samase, which is in the compound itself, as opposed to the prior sutram, we have samasa shastre. So this samasa shastre was talking about a samasa vidhayaka sutre. That's different. And here we are talking about actually placing the term in the compound itself, samase. So that's the difference here. So in a compound, which is samase, a term which has a designation upasarjanam, upasarjana sanyam, should be placed is prayojam in the prior position, purvam. This prak is same as purvam, prak prayojam should be placed in the earlier position. So finally we derive this prajna, which of course gets the pratipadika sanya by krit tadyata samasascha. This is a samasaha. So let us now go back and trace this derivation quickly before we close this example. Is we started this whole discussion by this adhikar sutram tatropapadam saptamistham, and we use that adhikar sutram to interpret this word, this term upasarge, which came in 3136, which is a sutram we used to apply the affix ka to this dhatu nya, but on the condition upasarge, means that there's something which has upasarga sanya should be in upapadam, because upasarga is saptamyantam padam. So that's how we apply this affix ka to the dhatu nya, based on the condition that there will be a upasarga which is used in composition with it, and we use the upasarga para. So we derived this nya plus ka by added the affix ka by using atashchopasarge anubandha lopaha with ato lopa iticha. We got the form nya. So nya is a kridantam. It's a krid antam, a term ending a pratipadikam. It's the pratipadik sanya by krit is a samasascha. It's a pratipadikam ending in the affix ka, the krit affix ka, krit pratyaha. And then we wanted to, still we don't have anything to form the compound, so we had to go to the compound section, the samasa adhikaraha, and we found a sutram upapadam ating, which now authorizes us to compound pra plus nya. But again the condition is ating, we should not be creating a tingantam. We don't have any tingantam right now, so that is fine. So now we were authorized to compound pra plus nya, but still the question remained as to which one of those two would be placed in the prior position in the compound. So then we took up the sanya sutram prathama nidishtam samasa upasajanam, and that gave the upasajana sanya to pra, because pra was indicated by the term upapadam, which is prathamantam in the samasa vidhayaka sutram. So we got the upasajana sanya for pra, and finally we just use upasajanam purvam to place para as the first member of the compound. As the prior member of the compound, we got the compound as para nya. Finally we got that as the samasaha. Now this sequence is going to be used for every single upapada samasaha. Is first we're going to remember tatta upapadam saptamistham is adhikaraha, which runs inside the dhatu adhikaraha, goes from 3192 to end of chapter 3. Then we will find a sutram which is a krit vidhayaka sutram, krit pratyaya vidhayaka sutram, which will prescribe an affix. In this case we used ka. It could be another affix by another sutram, but we will have to find a sutram which prescribes a krit pratyaya to be used after a dhatu, but on the condition that there is a particular upapadam there. Then once we do that, then we will add the affix to the dhatu, and we'll get a kridantam pratipadikam. Then we will do the compound formation by upapadam ating 2219, and finally by prathama nidishtam samasa upasajanam, that which has the upapada sanya will get the upasajana sanya now by prathama nidishtam samasa upasajanam, and then we will lastly use upasajanam purvam. So this entire sequence, so this is going to be used all the time. 13192. This one is going to change. It will be a different sutram depending on what kind of samasa we are forming, but it will still always be in the upapada samasaha. It will be a sutram which prescribes a krit pratyaha, but based on the condition that a upapadam is present, is in composition. And then we will always use upapadamathing, and then we will use prathama nirisham samasupasajanam, and then we will use upasajanam purvam. So this sequence is going to be standard now. So for the rest of our life, whenever we have upapada samasaha, remember this sequence and apply all these rules, and then it will make it easy to derive these upapada samasaha. These are quite common in the language. So even though we spent a lot of time trying to derive this one compound form, it is going to be used repeatedly. So it is worth explaining one time in detail how this process works, so we can use it later on with ease.